You should do good until you can't. And if you can't do good, you should work until you can. Should I run for Congress? I don't know. Many of the reasons why I'd be a good candidate are the same reasons why I might not be able to run. I'm from a really poor area and a pretty poor background. My parents separated when I was born. My mother put herself through college while raising me. She became a social worker. She was in a background, in a position in life where she did not have that much money. She did not have much of anything, but she worked her ass off raising me and became a social worker to help people who were in positions that she was in. You know, helping people, doing the job for other people that she needed done for her. So she puts herself through college, and I'm going through custody battles back and forth between homes. If you understand, you understand. And she met someone who became my stepfather. Now, he was a great guy, very nice. He was a very gentle person, but he was abused when he was younger. And people who were abused, who go through a lot of pain, tend to have issues dealing with that pain. Especially when you have no access to mental health services, you have no access to care that you need, especially in the middle of nowhere where I grew up. There's not much you can do except drink that away. And he was an alcoholic. So my childhood went from custody battles, my mom had a terrible upbringing, to living with an alcoholic who was a great guy, so that's really confusing, especially for a kid. Throughout my childhood, I heard over and over again from friends, you know, is your dad home? They couldn't hang out with me if my dad was home because their parents were afraid of having their kid around my stepdad, who I did call dad. Now this person went in and out of rehab, and the rehab issue is really bad in rural America. It's a little bit better now, but they don't provide services if they can't make money from it. So in rural America, there wasn't that much available at all in terms of help with addiction. And you know, that's one issue that I really care about now because of that. I know the weakest people have access to the least amount of resources, which is wrong. So I'm going in and out of rehab centers, visiting him. I'm trying to understand what's happening in the world. I'm like 6, 7, 8 years old, 9 years old. After, you know, many different traumatic incidents. One being, I remember waking up, I woke up and I had to run out of the house in my drawers, whatever the underwear is called, my underwear. As a little kid, basically, running out of the house, I remember hearing a house phone smack against the wall behind me as I ran down the stairs. And these outbursts are common with alcoholics, of course, but imagine that times 500. I don't know how, I mean, I'm not sure how many times it happened. There was definitely alcohol hidden around the house when he was trying to quit, going through rehab, in and out. But after a long time of terrible things, such as that story, I can go on for hours talking about these. This same person, my stepfather, now had cancer, leukemia. So now with leukemia, I was in and out of a hospital and rehab. And when he got pain pills, we had to put those in a safe in the 2000s. So that's my upbringing as a kid. You know, my mom is working after having a shitty childhood, put herself through college while raising me, becomes a social worker, goes into the homes of abused kids to help them. You know, these social workers, they get paid so little for doing the most important jobs in society. You know, gets with my stepfather, who now is an alcoholic, who has leukemia, going through chemotherapy. These are a lot of issues to deal with as a kid. And after this whole cycle, seeing domestic abuse, seeing cheating, seeing probably some violence, I don't remember all of it, being really confused about everything in the world as a kid, we got a call one day. After all this pain, after all this struggle, seeing this person be amazing when he's not drunk, and then be a completely different person when he's trying to hide from that pain that he took from his childhood that he never was able to solve. After all of this time, this person died from suicide. I found out, my mom got a phone call, and I was in the shower. I remember being pulled into my bedroom, waiting there for an answer, and the first person I see after hearing just frantic noises and panic, the first thing I see is the priest from our church come in. And he told me about how my stepfather, who I considered my dad, how he died from suicide. And all of these things coming together is obviously a huge point in my life. I definitely have some form of PTSD from it. I've seen a lot of struggle in the world. I've seen a lot of issues in general from being from a poor background. So I understand that the systems around us affect people in these conditions firsthand. It matters to me because it affects me. And I had to be on CHIP or Medicaid. I had family on Social Security. I had family on Medicare that would not have survived. Would not have survived. And then you find out that America is the only country that does not offer, well, the only first world country. We spend so much more money on healthcare than other countries, especially in Europe, Canada, Australia, but we cover less people. Americans live on average 7 or 8 years shorter than people in these countries. And you wonder where all this money goes, you know, especially from these areas where people are doing the real work. And going through these systems, understanding how they work is a big deal to me because I want to be able to help people not go through things I had to go through. And that's what motivated me to understand how the government works. You know, my grandfather played in a local band. I'm pretty sure he was involved in coal mines, sold insurance. You know, when he passed away a few years ago, the doctor basically committed fraud, denied even asking Medicare to cover any coverage for him. He did not listen to the diagnosis from another doctor because the other doctor was not esteemed enough, or I don't know, did not have a good enough degree for his doctor. His doctor lied relentlessly about his condition, and he ended up having an issue with his neurological system. He could not swallow. He basically died, withering away to nothing. And I knew what this doctor was doing is illegal. I knew that. But when there's powerful people in positions of power, the only way we can make sure they act in an honest way, make sure they treat people correctly, and if they don't treat people right, we can hold them accountable. The only way to do that when there's all this money in the world is to get money away from the system and to make sure we can come together as people, come together in a democratic system, come together through some type of government that represents the people to hold them accountable. All this money cannot overpower the voice of the people if we all come together. So, I mean, we were never able to hold that doctor accountable because we don't have tons of money. And I have this intimate understanding of these issues because of my experiences. I'm not going to go too deep into it, but those are the reasons that I'd be a good candidate. I really decided to understand messaging and the narratives that people live by and understand the systems that affect us because I truly give a shit. It still matters to me. I'm still in a position where I'm not, you know, I'm still not anywhere near the amount of money a person needs. I'm not anywhere near that to run for politics. And if you look at campaigns, usually they put up money first. So it'll be a millionaire or a billionaire running for office. They have a savings, maybe not a millionaire, maybe just a savings account. They'll dump $10,000 in, and they'll pay themselves back with campaign donations. So when you hear someone self-finances their campaign, typically they put money into that system. And when they get donations, they get paid back. So when you know, different politicians say they self-fund their campaigns, they're not self-funding it. They're basically getting a head start compared to any normal person that would run for office. And for myself, I don't have that money, and I'm not in a financially stable enough place to run for office. And that is to say right now that I really would appreciate your support. This is not a donation for Congress, but it would really help me in my advocacy on YouTube. Joel Politics, JOLAHPOLITICS. Joel Politics, the best place is Venmo, the second best place is Cash App, third best is PayPal. I also have a coffee link. It's the link down below. You can donate with a card like normal, but I really do need your support. This is not a congressional donation, but I do need your support. I do definitely need your support for my advocacy to help me get to a better position for this entire thing so I can have a better launch pad if I do decide to do this. It's a very complicated process, especially if I launch into U.S. Congress, of course. Managing all those funds and managing an actual huge campaign, I don't know if it would be successful. I really don't know. Crazier things have happened. I know I have the skill because I worked for it. I really did work for it. I know I have the skill needed for it, and I don't have the experience or connections, but I know I can get those because I've been through a lot worse than whatever politics can bring me. I live in a 65-35 Trump County, but I promise that my phone's about to fall because of the wind. I do promise that it's going to happen. My phone is about to fall. That's why it's shaking right now. You might see the shaking, I don't know, because of the wind. Although it's a 65-35 Trump County, I promise I'll be able to send a message. And that's a really big part of this. The social media algorithms create a false reality, a reality TV show. The only way to break that reality TV show is to bring it back to reality. Well, there goes gravity, just like Eminem said, a scholar, philosopher. But it really is breaking these algorithms. And how do I do that? I force my way in the process. And make myself be heard. I know Americans don't want money controlling politics. I know Americans want every dollar they spend for healthcare to go to healthcare. We spend so much as a country for healthcare, more than any other country in the world. Almost as much as 2 times as much money as these countries do. But we have less people covered. Americans live on average 7 years shorter than people do in Europe, Canada, or Australia. Why? Where does all that money go? The money goes to the same people who buy politics. Get money out of politics. Every dollar towards healthcare should go to healthcare, to nurses, doctors, and caretakers. We can give nurses and caretakers, doctors, a pay raise if we cut out the corporate boards and CEOs and just focus our healthcare system on caring for people. Get money out of politics, make sure every dollar in healthcare goes to healthcare. The housing crisis, think about that too. One of the biggest lobbying groups in America is not reality television. It's real estate, same word, real. I'm going to one again because I messed up. I caught you. I will catch you if I become a congressman. I will catch you every time, baby. I'll support you. Real estate. One of the biggest lobbying groups in the world and in America is real estate. So when there's regulations that screw over new developments to build more housing, increase the housing supply, lower the cost of housing, you know the big firms buy up properties. You know they drive up costs. You know they make sure we lobby politicians to make local regulations, to make state regulations, mostly local. But they make regulations in a way that hurt all of us. They use their money to buy up properties, and then they use their money to manipulate government. But like I said before, we need people to work through government, and we need government to be for the people, because we don't have the cash they do. We don't have the power they do. The passion, the cash, everything they have, all the cash and money they have can be outweighed by us, by numbers. And we need a system that advocates for that. Right now, I know Trump voters don't want innocent people from Venezuela who were tortured there, who escaped to America, came in legal ports of entry in the right way. They came here, and now they have tattoos that say mom on their arms. They have an autism awareness tattoo. They have a professional soccer team tattoo. You know, there's men who dedicated their lives to helping kids with autism, who has a little brother that has autism. A professional soccer player that coached kids. You know, barbers, tattoo artists that were from Venezuela, came to America, did it the right way, wanted to come to this amazing free country. And without due process, without anything, they were sent to a prison camp in El Salvador for a forced labor life sentence, essentially sold into slavery. And our current government is laughing about it. And they're saying, oh, you want to defend criminals? No, we want to defend due process. Because if no one has due process, how do they know if you're a criminal? How do they know if you're a citizen? Do you want a world where the federal government can make an accusation and it stands with no day in court, with no proof needed? I know you don't want that. It's different from a deportation. It's different. Allegations you're in a gang, you know, individuals doing it the right way, and they're ripped away from their families, from the people they love, from the communities they serve, because our government doesn't want to do our due diligence. If we have enough resources for every billionaire and millionaire in this country to have hundreds, thousands of super yachts, we have the resources to move around to make sure we can maintain due process, which is the foundational thing that keeps our Constitution together. And I know Trump supporters do not want to send innocent people to labor camps. Maybe they want deportations back to the country where someone came from. But they don't want to send innocent people to labor camps. I know that the relationship with their faith, as well as their moral system, as well as just how they want to treat other people, it does not agree with what they're doing right now in the White House. But the way they're able to protect themselves with the current politics is they lie to people. They control the media certain individuals watch. The media bubbles that algorithms create are really big. And like I said before, we need to pop those bubbles in the real world. And I want to be able to do that. So please, if you are able to, please consider supporting me as an entity, as someone on YouTube. And hopefully I'll be able to get deeper into this, deeper in this in the future. Thank you for all your support.